Hi everybody. Today I'm going to give you a summary of Census's new feature, the API Inspector. In summary, the API Inspector gives you full visibility into the API calls made during a Census sync so that you can monitor, track down, and fix any issues that might occur, all in real time. The API Inspector currently supports over 90% of our destination connections, so whether you're sending data to a marketing tool, sales tool, product, customer success, or something in between, we likely have you covered. So without further ado, let's do a quick tour. So the first thing you're going to do is go to your Census app and pick one of your syncs. I'm going to use Zendesk for this example. Under the new API Inspector tab, you can see information about when the sync was completed, when the sync started, and here this icon tells you if the sync was successful. If this icon were an exclamation point, that would mean that the sync was unsuccessful, and we'll go over that shortly. You also have information on the request type, the actual API, and the exact time the sync occurred. So if we click into one of the individual records, we can see additional metadata. So the first tab is a header tab, which gives us a summary of the API request and the API response. We can drill down a little bit further into the request body and see the actual data that we wanted to send over to the destination. And lastly, we can see the response body, which tells you when the destination created, updated, and completed the sync. It's important to note that success is determined by the destination API, and that the information you see in these tabs will be completely different depending on what your destination is. So now we're going to take a look at the API Inspector of a sync that failed. So this is a Shopify sync, and if we look at the status, there's an exclamation mark, which means that something went wrong. So similar as before, we can click into it. We can see information about the header, the request and the response. We can also look into the request body, which is the data that we wish to send over. And finally, we have the response body. So if we look into this, we can see that there was an error, and the error occurred on the email. And the actual error message sent from Shopify has already been taken. So if you're familiar with what this error message means, you can go fix it, or you can do a Google search to figure out what the problem might be. Please keep in mind that the API Inspector only helps you solve issues related to the destination API. So if you have a failed sync, for example, that's related to the data source, you actually won't see any information here at all. So in closing, if you want to learn more about the API Inspector, you can go to docs.getcensus.com and you click on Create Sync, Monitoring, and then towards the bottom you have information about the API Inspector. Like I mentioned earlier, the API Inspector is supported for 90% of our destinations, but we've included a list of destinations that do not currently support it. We will continuously be updating this feature, and all of those updates will be reflected here in the documentation. I hope this was useful for you, and if you run into issues or if something doesn't work, please reach out to us. Thank you.